Welcome back to the Clydesdale Fitness and Friends. My name is Scott Schweitzer. We like to do fitness. These are my friends. I got my co-host Amy Radowski with me and special guest Facundo. Facundo, how are you?
I'm very well. I'm very happy to be with you guys today. Thank you for the invite, and look forward to spend some time with you talking about our sport.
Yeah. I need to tell our audience that Amy and I are sitting in the middle of a severe thunderstorm. I actually lost internet and got it back about 5 minutes before we went on the air. So hopefully nothing happens. We keep power through this broadcast, but just know if we drop off, that's why. So I want to start in a weird place, Facundo. I read somewhere where your craziest job was you were a waiter in a restaurant and your job was to get up at 4:15 in the morning and turn on the oven. And that was it.
You did some research, huh? I mean, those dark days of my life. Yeah. When I was studying in France, in Strasbourg, I got a job as a waiter in a restaurant and in a hotel, actually, in a hotel. It wasn't a restaurant. And my only job, I used to work with a very mean lady, really mean. And so I had to go there at 4:30, touch the button to the oven. And I was supposed to wait till the croissant and the bread was baked for the customers in the morning. I was not even allowed to have a coffee. Can you imagine?
So it's funny because I connected with that. My first job in college was at Wendy's and I had to make the biscuits in the morning. So I had to be at Wendy's at 3:30 in the morning and I had to mix up all the biscuit dough and cut them and put them in the oven and make biscuits every morning for all the sandwiches.
So we do have something in common already, huh? Right?
Yeah.
Those hard old days.
Yeah. And that was my freshman year in college, and I was not the so I may have still been under the influence of alcohol when I went in to make the biscuits.
Okay. Well, that makes things easier somehow, right?
Does it? I mean, did you even bother going to sleep or did you just stay up all night so you could go?
Just stayed up, went right in.
That seems professional.
No, yeah. I was a nerd. You know, I was studying and I was really a nerd. So I remember that I have a very thick beard. I don't you see now because I just shaved. But if you know, I have to wake up so early that I used to go to bed super early too to survive the day through the day because I was still a full-time student. So I remember that I used to shave because I was supposed to be shaving, like really child-looking person. And I used to shave at 5 or 6 p.m. And by the time it was 10 a.m. the following morning, in the middle of the breakfast, you could see a lot of the shadow of the beard. And the woman was like, my mean boss, you didn't shave yesterday. Oh, I swear that I did. You have a lot of hair growing on. I said, but you have to shave before coming to the hotel then. Like wake up early and shave in the morning. So, yeah.
Wow.
I'm in a happier place now, though.
Yeah. So your childhood, you actually grew up in Argentina, but you have lived in so many countries around the world.
Yeah, I was born in Buenos Aires in Argentina. Then I will be very fast because I need to keep track myself, otherwise I get confused. So it was Buenos Aires, Brazil, Buenos Aires, Spain, Buenos Aires, New York, Boston, Buenos Aires, Germany, France, and Belgium. That is where life has taken me so far, which if you are a fan of soccer, it's a bit of a problem because you never know, which team do you want to exactly.
So what did
you have? Okay. Oh, go ahead, Amy.
I was going to say, what did you study in school? You said that you were in school when you had that job. What were you studying?
I studied neurosciences in Strasbourg, psychology, and with specialization in neurosciences. And it was a very miserable time of my life. It was a hard time. But I studied that, and then I moved to Brussels. I started working in the European Parliament. And then I studied political science and international conflict and security. I worked in the European Parliament as a political advisor for 16 years. And one day I said, that's it. I want to be a CrossFit coach. kind of.
So I actually work for state government here in Ohio, in Pennsylvania, or in the United States. And I'm hoping one day to say, that's it. I'm just going to be a podcaster.
Yeah, I mean, you're doing a great job. So, why not?
Yeah. Yeah. I think what's funny is you work for one political party when you were working in Parliament, and your husband was working for another one?
That is correct. We couldn't talk politics at home.
Right.
It was like,
Okay.
no, we would talk about, oh, it's a nice day, tomorrow is going to rain, or who takes the dog out. But topics like, did you see what happened today in the plenary session? You guys voted for this, but you were doing that.
Right.
So, no. It's just, CrossFit. I did a 1 RM snatch. He didn't know. He never knows what that is, kind of. But those were the topics of our evenings.
Yeah, you got to set some firm boundaries there about what you can talk about at home.
I know, but to be very honest, I started as I started working in the Parliament because it was my plan B. I wanted to do a PhD, and I failed on the German test for the university. So I didn't have a plan B. I was so sure that I was going to, to be accepted, and no, wasn't the case. So a friend of mine told me of a member of the European Parliament who was in desperate need of a Spanish-speaking, German fluent speaking guy. And, it's like, there's some money involved. Yeah. So I packed my bags from Strasbourg, from the mean lady on the breakfast. And, and I went to Brussels, and I'm still there.
So how do you go from neuroscience as your major to working in Parliament? And as someone who studied neuroscience, what did that give you as a view of politics at that time?
That politicians are crazy to start with. That was a very simple affirmation. No. It's they are as crazy as people in many other environments. I tend to believe that people that work really hard to go to the CrossFit Games, they are crazy. But the sacrifices they do, the life they lead, they put themselves on such a stressful situation all year round for just one weekend. So that's also a bit cuckoo. But it was because, I didn't have plan B, and I really thought that I wanted to do, a PhD on the development of emotions on the prefrontal cortex, which was something that neurosciences was very strong back then, given the instruments we have to measure, research. And so I met a teacher in Cologne. He loved the topic, but there's a German test to be, to pass in order to get accepted. And when I went to pass the test, I realized, or I didn't realize, I just found out that half of the test was in Latin, and I didn't speak Latin, certainly, like zero. So that was not enough for me to be accepted. And Parliament sounded, financially interesting after studying so many years, counting the euros out of my pocket. Then I said, well, yeah, as long as it pays, I'll do whatever, kind of.
So you speak several languages, but not Latin.
No. I speak some languages, none of them good, as I tend to say. But Latin is not something that I know. Zero. I speak Spanish is my mother tongue. I speak some English, French, German. We speak German at home, and I speak Italian. And then I don't speak anything decently anymore. So that's my limit.
Mm-hmm.
So really, I think I saw that it was your language skills that got you into kind of the CrossFit media coaching world.
Scott, you know everything about me. I'm like running out of stories to tell. Yeah, it is funny because I had to pass today. I'm supposed to pass my judges course because I'm going to be going to the games next week to coach, some of my athletes. And in order to get the coach's pass, you need to pass the judge's test, right? And I didn't remember my CrossFit password in order to get to my profile. So I had to Google myself in CrossFit. And then I saw, I used to work articles for CrossFit HQ. Back then, before visual media was good. I don't know if you guys were around back then, 2012. We used to write articles on profiles on athletes. So my job was like, Facundo, who in Europe you think is worth paying attention to. And that is what I started doing. Actually, everything started when I went to the Berlin Invitational in 2013. I was working in the Parliament already, and I used my parliamentary credentials to get VIP tickets, and I think that it was worth it. I will do it again. And it's funny. It's really funny because I was sitting next to Hilary Froning, which for me back then was like, wow. I mean, wow. And now she's maybe my best friend in life, one of my best friends without any doubt. And everything started there. But it started because in the broadcast of the Invitational, I remember that we were in a German-speaking country. The channel that would broadcast the event, Eurosport, had all French-speaking staff, and CrossFit had sent some of their HQ producers and director for the event, so nobody could understand anybody, And I remember after 5 minutes into the first workout, Justin Berg, who was back then the manager of the CrossFit Games, came to me and said, "Hey, bro, I mean, I've heard you speak so many languages. We have a situation on the broadcasting track. Would you mind give us a hand? If you don't, I would accept," and so on. And of course, I said yes. And I missed the event because I was spent the whole time there explaining to the camera woman what a thruster is, a big movement or a small movement, what was muscle up and so on, because these people didn't know anything about our sport. So I was just saying, big camera, far away. Now you can come close. Now far away again. Now running. Now this, and that opened me a lot of doors. So that is how I started.
So I think like when I've been researching your background, what you're great at is building relationships. And because of those relationships, opportunities keep coming to your way. Because that story starts with you talking with Rory McKernan, Justin Berg in the VIP section. And if you wouldn't have built that relationship, Justin wouldn't have felt comfortable coming to you, asking you to help him out on the truck.
Probably, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I like to say that I'm a very, very lucky guy, and I have come across, into great people that were very generous with me and gave me a lot of chances and opportunities to do what I'm doing now. So I have a tendency to believe that I'm very lucky, more than gifted in relationships and relations.
You're
well,
related.
I'm going to say
I'm a relator.
I'm going to say you're great at relationships. And I also think you're a sponge, because there's nothing in common with what you jump from to what you jump to. And I think you just have a thirst to learn as much as you can.
Look, I like to learn, but at the end of the day, coach is such a mesmerizing job, because it really entails many different things. I don't think that I would be a coach if I wouldn't have a background in psychology that helps me a lot to understand my job, and especially the most important thing of my job: how can I take the best out of an athlete, right, and help him go wherever he or she wants to go. And yes, there is a technical knowledge regarding our sport that a coach needs to have. But for me, if I wouldn't understand really the drive, how my athlete works, I'm not sure I will be able to, take the best out of that person, or even make me as interested enough as to put more time, more motivation, more capacity to help that person go wherever he or she wants to go. Amy, you're looking at me like...
Yeah, no, I'm totally... I'm a teacher.
Yeah.
So I'm a teacher, and I'm relating to what you're saying, because you absolutely have to know about each individual person in order to get them to their potential. It's not just a generalization of, I can coach somebody how to do a thruster, sure, but it's really that relational piece and understanding each individual that I think makes such a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, I never did a generic programming. I never understood how that works. Actually, I just met people, and well, to be honest, yet again, I have been lucky enough as to meet very, very, very fit people who said to me, "Give me a hand," or "You want to work with me?" And they were my guinea pigs, somehow, because at the end of the day, nobody has the secret key that opens all doors, right? We are trying and learning and experimenting, making mistakes, trying again. But so to answer your question, I think that everything that I study helped me a lot to my development as a coach. Politics get you a very clear idea on how to, this is going to sound really bad, and maybe I need to measure myself, but to a certain degree, how to manipulate people's will, right? And how to play with intention and consequence and, all of these things. And many politicians do that.
For sure.
And, sometimes athletes also needs to be tricked. But I need to be politically correct. So we talk about the weather. How is the storm there? Is it getting better?
We're rolling.
No, but yes, I think everything serves.
Yeah.
We can get semantic about it and say, every athlete needs some motivation, right? Or to understand why they're doing what they're doing, or sometimes not understanding what they're doing and just do it so they can experience it. It's not necessarily being tricked. It's getting them through the full.
Yes. Yeah. The problem is that the routine plays a role. So, if you do 21, it's an example, 21:59, right? And of course you do know, the athlete knows both consciously and unconsciously that 9 reps is going to be over. So, but I want more. I see that there is much more, and it's why the workout needs to end now. I'm really building a strong adaptation here, right? So maybe there, play something, a little card that is not supposed to be mean, but it's part of the game. It's just very many things can be assessed only at that right moment. You can write on the paper a lot of things, but I don't know how that is going to translate on that day, on that person's life, on how he or she slept or ate, or the will, the mood. So
it's not you, Amy.
Okay.
I think we just
there I am.
Yeah. Okay.
There we go.
And and to play around about the things, and some people believe there is a trick. It's not a trick, actually. It's for their own good. Mm-hmm. But yes. But also, Scott and Amy, I think that we coaches need also to be motivated. And it is not a 9 to 5 kind of work. Okay, I do this, and then I walk. We take home. I work from home, but I keep home a lot of the my intentions, my mental state throughout the day. And if I would not have an athlete that I think that goes hand in hand with my motivation, on my intentions and my objectives, then I'm not sure that I'm going to be the best coach for that person, right? So I think that it's both things. I also need sometimes to be tricked by my athletes, I guess. Maybe they do it, I didn't realize yet. But
sure.
I work with very clever people, so certainly more clever than me. So maybe I'm full every day and I have not realized yet.
Well, I think, as coaches, we need to be challenged so that we are helping them to continually get their potential. If it was always easy goes it, then we're losing some of our passion and trying to help them get to their potential.
Yeah, and I think also, I think that we need to be challenged, not to stagnate. So I think that many coaches learn something that is interesting and they use it over and over and over and over and over. And because that works, they close the door to more knowledge or more learning, until there's an athlete that comes to me, hey, you, Facundo, explain me why this and why that, and what do I have to do to get there now? And then, I'm obliged to provide a proper answer. Otherwise, I lose credibility. If a coach says to me, hey, how can I do this? Sorry, an athlete says to me, I need to do that. And I said, let me think about it, and I come back to you tomorrow. I'm not sure whether they're going to feel that they're in good hands. So we also need to be in constant improvement, constant motion towards more knowledge.
Absolutely.
As our sport is also developing so fast.
Mm-hmm.
So what was it like when Rich Froning asked you to be the coach of Mayhem Freedom?
Very stressful. Horrible. So,
more stressful than working with politicians?
10 times more.
Okay.
10 times more. So we were good friends already. We were friends with Rich back at the time. And certainly, Rich Froning is not a person who needs a coach to tell him, oh, now you need to warm up, do 3 rounds of burpees and row. And, it would be silly to think that I am the one that, built who he is, right?
Yeah.
However, I think that all of us need a person that we can trust in moments of joy and in moments that are maybe less joyful. And, I think the relation that I have with Rich went very much into that direction. So we trust each other very much. And I like to think that he believes that I'm a person who is going to be with him, in each different step of moment of competition or whatever. So I woke up one day, I woke up very often quite early, and I have a text, and it was like, no, hello, brother, or anything. Are you going to be the coach of Mayhem Freedom this year? And it's like, oh, man. It took me like the whole day to answer because I didn't know what to answer. Of course, I knew that I wanted to answer yes. I just didn't know which words to use and, how to express my some professionalism. And, it needs to be perfect phrase. And it come to the evening and my friends is like, bro, you better answer. Otherwise, the guy thinks you're very impolite. I just don't know what to answer. I want to answer yes. I just don't know how to put it into words. And so that was 2018, I think, 18. And we've been working together. And I'm very much looking forward to this year.
I would think it's more stressful than if many other athletes would ask, because you already know he knows the movements. He knows he's been around the game a long time. So you're going to have to pull deep into that bag of tricks to be there for him.
Yeah. I mean, he's a guy that knows. I really don't know the image that people has of him, but he's a very, very clever guy. He's not just a fit guy. Yeah. The guy is extremely clever. Besides his work ethics and how he's a person, he knows where he has to go and how to get there, right? I mean, yes, it is also stressful because, Rich is not a person that give advice or the person that says, this is the way anything needs to be done. As he says himself, he leads by example. So he does his things and he inspires those around him to do the same, which is very stressful, very, very, very stressful, because you want to be at your very best. And you're always fearing that you have a misstep or you make a little mistake because he doesn't. And, you are somehow tiptoeing into, I hope everything is fine. I thought everything, But at the end of the day, of all the people that I have had the chance to work with, I think that as much stress is for me to work with him, I think that he's the easiest person to work with too. I mean, the guy is just, like, I'm not going to mention names, but the guy just wakes up, has his breakfast, warms up, does his thing, comes home, is with his children, with his family. I mean, there's this idea that many people, I think, believe of, like, you have your little balance and you weight your carbs and your this and that, and then you put the thing and you sleep 9 hours and 5 minutes because that is what an app tells you need to sleep in order to be at your top. It's very natural for him. It's something that he doesn't have to put an additional effort, to be there. He's natural.
Yeah, he's very routine about that, but in an organic way.
Yeah, and I've seen many people who have pushed themselves, who went really far, but pushed themselves to the very extreme. And I'm not sure whether that is a sustainable thing, whether in time you can maintain that for many, many years, right? I mean, being a CrossFit athlete is already hard. Being a CrossFit champion is extremely hard, because also I think that what people maybe doesn't seem very much is like when Rich or, one of Rich, Tia, Matt, whatever, they are on the competition floor, people expect to see magic. So I pay my ticket and I want to see magic. I want to see what this hype is about, right? I want to see this man dismantling the competition and and showing me why he's the GOAT. So that adds a bit more of, stress and everything to an athlete. So
how much does your neuroscience background and that research, as far as the emotional part of development, how much does that play into your coaching?
Oh, no, to be honest, the neuroscience part, very, very little, because when I was studying back then, it was just, Alzheimer, Parkinson, memory troubles, and very severe diseases that translate into behavior.
Okay.
Luckily, none of the athletes have that at the moment. And but before, so my first 2 years of psychology I did in Argentina, and there I was studying to become a psychoanalyst, so a Freudian psychotherapist, which my sister is. And that helps much more to understand, for me at least, how the mental structure works. And it's very complex, and I think that it's very much by feeling too. Like I'm not
instincts.
Making a therapy with my athletes. I just want to understand them better. That's most of it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and a lot of people don't understand that, like, Rich can't go anywhere during a competition week without people knowing who he is. And the man never says no. He's always taking pictures. So how much of your role is to make sure that he gets from point A to point B in time?
That is a good question. It's the hardest thing that I have to do, to be honest, because Rich is a guy that, and yet again, I mean, I'm not very impartial here. He's one of my best friends. So of course, I'm going to bring, what he is. And he's a guy that understands what it is to stay in line for 1 hour, 2 hours outside of an arena, waiting for a t-shirt, waiting for a selfie or whatever. And he acknowledged, and he's very appreciative of that. But also, maybe sometimes it's between events. And I remember we were in London, Strength in Depth 2020, and there was a lot of people, but really a lot of people. And, people very lovingly come with a t-shirt, the shoes, the backpack, the picture, the thing, the video, and it takes a lot of time. And I remember we had an event like 1 hour later, so we needed to go back to the warm-up area, eat, and start warming up. And by the time we would make it back to the warm-up area, Scott, China, and Tasha were already finished eating, stretching, and warming up. And we're just like, okay, where do I go now? What do I have? Because he's a very, what we said, not generous, but appreciative guy in terms of understanding, what his fans, or I don't know if that's the correct word, but people mean by waiting and by, saying always a kind word. And he's a very generous guy.
So how much better of a coach have you become being around him?
Well, I don't think that I can measure that. I'm not sure whether I'm a good coach so far yet. I guess we are on the learning curve. But look, this year is the first year actually that Jake is the Mayhem Athlete director. Jake Locker, a fantastic guy. Rich and me, we sit with our own ideas, and we discuss the programming for Mayhem Athlete and for the camp that is taking place now in Mayhem. We have we'll come to this later. A lot of athletes competing on the CrossFit Games this year by Mayhem. So it is. He's a guy that he clearly brings his ideas forward. It's like, why this? No, let's make it like this. I really think that and at the moment sometimes you're like, he didn't like my workout. But at the end of the day, when you see the athletes or you're coaching the athletes doing them, you realize why he wanted to change into that, why he wanted to move more into that direction instead of the one that I was initially aiming to. And I think that on the other hand, even more so, the fact that I see clearly there is no secret to become, magic thing. It's just hard work. Everybody at Mayhem works really, really hard. And he it's very funny. The other day, somebody was asking me, and it is incredible at Mayhem, at the barn or at Mayhem, he's the best one. So everybody then learned to be very humble, because you write a work on a whiteboard and it's, I don't know, heavy barbells. And of course, everybody goes to Guy and says, oh, Guy, he has his workout, But then the next workout is a 25-minute interval or AMRAPs or whatever. And you know that Haley is going to demolish that workout, no doubt. Mm-hmm. And then you put heavy deadlifts and you have Tyler, and then you put this and you have Paige. So no one is really the best one. And even though you have still in every single workout, Rich Froning breathing in your neck, like, I'm here, keep going,
Still here.
I'm still here, yeah. And I'm yeah. So, it is funny. That is how they work there. They don't take anything for granted. Everybody knows that they need to make a big effort to bring forward the best they have, because otherwise one of their partners is going to, run them through. Mm-hmm. And that is one of the most beautiful things that we have at Mayhem.
So this is a little bit of a follow-up now that Rich is kind of moving more into a coaching role. I was at MAC. I was at Syndicate. Rich is relaxed all weekend. It's his team. He knows what he can do on the floor. Following weekend, he's there at MAC as a coach. Very different Rich than I've seen before. Much more tense, much more non-expression on the face. How have you seen him develop from a coaching perspective during that time?
Look, when I met him, he was the guy who trained alone, kind of alone. Nobody knew what he was doing. Mm-hmm. Everything was a secret. Hence, what's Rich doing, right?
Right.
What is that guy doing hidden there, right? And then he opened the doors of his house, of his barn, or the older barn actually, and started mingling with people. And the fact that he decided to go into teams that, I wouldn't say obliged, but that opened the possibility for him to become more social in his training aspect. And I think that he himself, I'm guessing, this is a guess, he feels very inspired about the work that our athletes at Mayhem are doing, right? And I think that there is a part of him that believes, oh, I'm very glad that these people are going to take the torch of me when I decide to retire. And I think that is why he both, time-wise and emotionally-wise connects so much with his athletes. And when you are yourself the athlete, you know what you can do when you put yourself your limits. But when you're seen from outside, right, it is a very stressful thing. And that is what he's now starting to taste, the stress of a coach.
Yeah, well, Scott, that's what we always talk about, that as parents, it's so much harder to watch your own children compete and do sports. So in a sense, maybe that's what, Rich is feeling. These are my babies. These are my kids that I've been coaching, and now they're performing, and you hold all the anxiety.
Yeah, I mean, I know always that Rich is going to do well because I know how he is and know who he is. However, I have to say that when any of my athletes go to the competition floor, I'm a wreck. I mean, I'm not in a good spot. I think somebody took pictures of me last year when Saxon was doing the ladder with the cleans and the running, and I was like this. I was like, I didn't want to see. And a friend who was sitting next to me, I think it was Mike Malloy from M2 Performance. Yes, he got it, and then I will, go back and see. But I just could not see it. It is very, very challenging, and maybe because I prefer to have this emotional connection with my athletes. It serves me a lot. But in those moments of competitions, Lazar was some weeks ago at the Lowlands. Lazar took each one of my athletes, and when we started working together, he said to me, we decided, but he said to me, my main priority is going to be my strength. I need to build strength. So this barbell complex, one of the common workouts for the semifinals, was for him the way of measuring whether all the work we did together, was well invested. And so me, his girlfriend and me, we were just behind him watching that happen, the third attempt. God, I think that I aged 3 months in 1 minute. I was like, it was very challenging, and I was happy that he managed to do that lift. But as you were said, Amy, I feel that they are somehow part of my family, so I get very stressful when they are competing.
Yeah.
So I had always kind of known the legend of Facundo through Mayhem Media, all of that kind of stuff. In 2020, I was the judge for Saxon at the Rogue Invitational, the year that it was the COVID year, where everybody was in their own gym and they did the broadcast live. At that weekend, you got to see all the behind the scenes stuff because you were there with the athlete for the entire weekend. And Spencer was calling you and texting you continually through that weekend because you had become their coach during that time. And I got to learn about like that because I don't think people realized how much into coaching you really were. And I didn't until that moment when I saw how much you were talking with them over that weekend. All that to be said, how excited are you to see that Spencer finally punched his ticket to the CrossFit Games?
I'm very excited for both of them. Saxon and me, we started working together early this year. He needed a change and he needed an environment. And I know Shane and Tia quite well, and we discussed what would be his best option. And he went there, and I was very happy with his decision. A bit sad about both of us parting, but Spence came to Mayhem, and he's a great person to start with. Spence, both of them. We're talking about Spence now. He's a great person, and I think that throughout the years he built this little wall in like, I'm not going to get the games. I'm not going to the games, and now that he finally did it, I think that the world is going to see from now on a very different Spencer from what they used to see. I call him the Flash. Even when I was working with Saxon, I always told Sax, hey, be careful with Spence. I mean, he might be the youngest sibling of all of you. Yeah. He's very dangerous. And when something falls into his realm, he's magic. And that's really the word. I remember when he went to West Coast, he was doing this cheaper G triple. I think it was a cheaper G. Remember, 100 pull-ups, 80 GHD sit-ups, 60 pistols, row, and heavy dumbbell press. And we talk a lot about that workout because he did it before, and he understood that workout so well that he built it for himself. And in that workout, in competition, I think he took almost a minute off Matt Fraser's time from the games 2 years before. Almost 1 minute.
Wow.
On a 10-minute time domain workout.
Wow.
So, that's to say that the guy has the capacity, and the potential to do incredible things. And I think that is where he's now. And I think that from now on, he's not worrying anymore. Will I make it to the games next year? Which is the only thought that he might have had throughout the season. Now he's like, okay, what do I need to do to get better again next year at the games? And that changes his whole perception of how he trains, what are his objectives, how to invest his time, and so on. And Scott, and I don't know if you know Spence, he's a super nice guy, sweet as can be. And he's very well loved in Mayhem. And I hope that he loves us too, but I guess so. And he's been putting very serious work. And I am looking forward to see him next week, and for the games to be able to use that to show how much he grew as an athlete.
Yeah, it's almost like there was a wall up for him, like you were saying. And then once we've kind of broken through that wall, now he can kind of relax and just really be who he is as an athlete. I mean, not relax, but I mean, kind of like he realizes he deserves to be there.
Exactly. And he works really hard, and he's very, very talented. You just need to put some screws here and there to shape things up. But the potential he has, it's really extraordinary. I'm very happy to see him going to the games this year, and I'm also sure that Saxon is going to do great because I know he's been working really hard, and he's in very good company.
Yeah, we've actually been lucky enough to get to know the twins.
Mm-hmm.
One of their friends goes to Amy's gym, and they've come and helped with charity work at the gym, things like that. So we've known them for years. We interviewed Spencer right after he moved to Cookeville, and it was a very different Spencer, much more relaxed and much more confident. Like the confidence level in that kid has gone up so much. And I was lucky enough to be at West Coast last year when he broke that record.
Okay, yeah.
It was unreal.
Yeah, and I think that if he gets, more the skill of understanding workouts the same way he understood that workout for him, right, and he keeps working on his fitness, he's going to be a very fierce competitor. He has the capacity for sure.
Mm-hmm.
When all the Panchiks always seem to do better at the games than they even did at the regional semifinal level. So, I mean, I expect big things, but I will admit when they announced his name at Mac, I bawled.
Yeah.
Just tears flooding down my face.
Yeah,
I was so happy for him.
Very, very well deserved.
So Facundo, at the beginning, you said that you're not quite an athlete, but what kind of what did you play sports growing up?
No, I did not play any sport whatsoever. I was super skinny, like badly skinny. I used to like to learn music,
okay,
which was my first big love in my life, classical music, and so I spent my whole time listening to. Do you know what an LP is? These are the long plays, this round things that just
record
thing on
yeah.
record, yeah. The vinyl, it's called vinyls, right? Vinyl.
Vinyls.
Vinyls in America. Yeah. Here they call it LPs. So I spent all my childhood doing that. I mean, so no, I didn't play any sport whatsoever. Zero. I was not built for that, and I don't think that I have the mental capacity to go to the stress that people go to. It's you need to have a steel character and nerves of steel, and no, I'm more I'm very different.
So what about now? Do you participate in CrossFit now yourself?
I used to do CrossFit, and I did two competitions.
Okay.
Like very, very regional in between the gyms in Brussels, the team actually, not even individual, and that went very well. But I had an accident, and I dislocated my shoulder, and I had a very big reconstructive surgery in my shoulder, and then I fractured my internal ligament, so I couldn't really sit properly or squat for maybe 18 months.
Oh.
And now I'm fine, and I'm doing excuses. When I go to Cookeville, I do stuff on my corner, because I don't want to be around those people that put it, that kind of it's a ray of light into my misery. It's like, you are doing this, we are doing that. Nobody cares, to be honest. Right? But I do at the moment very little. It's been a year full of beautiful things that happen work-wise. So most of my attention now it's with my athletes. At Mayhem Athlete, we have an extraordinary year, and we are looking very much to the games this year. Very, very much.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the Mayhem structure, and you mentioned Jake, and he is the director. There's like a handful of coaches listed underneath that. You are one of those. Do you guys split up the athletes amongst yourselves? Are you all their coaches?
No. So it's funny. We share a lot of things. We are not people that are, this is my athlete, I don't dare you to talk to him, or or that. So we really share. I know this better than somebody else, or kind of. I'm asked, I don't know something, and I go to Jake. Mostly in terms of programming, it's mostly, so Darren, I think that's all the affiliate work, which is a lot of work. We have a lot of affiliates. Great programming, by the way. So if the coach from a box doesn't have a programming, Mayhem Affiliate is a great program. And Jake and me, we do most of the Mayhem Athlete works. We know it's very funny. We are very simple. We bring ideas to the table. We sit. We have Zoom or FaceTime, whatever, and we discuss about them, and we come into terms. We work very easily. Actually, it's a lot of work, but it's a beautiful work.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a question from Kat. Is there an athlete out there you haven't worked with that you might like to?
That's a good question. I haven't worked that I would like to work with. I really don't know. I need to, if you ask me in 2 minutes, I'll do my best to answer you. I'm really not sure. I mean, yeah, let me give me 2 minutes, and I promise I'll get back to you. I'm writing it down.
Okay. So what does your upcoming schedule look like? The games are in a week and a half.
Yeah.
You're in Belgium. That's a long way.
I'm in Austria. I'm in Austria now. In Austria.
Oh, okay. Austria.
Yeah. I'm in Austria. We have a very super little house in the mountains, and I tend to come here in order to get strength. You know, it's like I'm tapering for the games, kind of too, in my own way. So I'm here. I was in Cookville until last Saturday, last Sunday, I think, whatever. And I came here for some days off. People there know we left very clear instructions, and Jake is there and Rich is there too. And I'm traveling next week to the games. We have Mayhem has 16 individual athletes competing in both categories, so almost 20% of the field. We have 11 teams. We have 17 masters and 4 teens. And we want to take care of them the best we can. So we are really resting well, preparing our strength to be at our best for them. So games, and after the games, Rich, Haley, Tyler, me, and Bailey, we go to Italy for a competition. Okay. After that, we do a seminar in Rome. And after that, I'm back in Cookville to start working on the upcoming season.
So when you go to the games, will your husband travel with you?
No. I go alone.
You're like, I gotta work. You gotta stay.
We divided things very well, and he likes CrossFit. He likes to see CrossFit sometime. Yeah. But he's not a very big fan. He does triathlon. Okay. And he came to a CrossFit class many years ago, and he fell into one of the worst classes, like 1,000 lunges and box jumps and deadlift, and he couldn't walk for like 1 month properly. So his training was destroyed, and then this sport's stupid. I'm never doing this again. And he's fine at home. I have a daughter, so he's taking care of her.
Awesome.
Does your daughter do any CrossFit or?
She does a lot of sport, not CrossFit yet, but with my husband, they go biking a lot. She's 5, and just before leaving on holidays, she biked like 5 miles on her little bike. And I was like, "Are you okay?" I love it. So she likes sports a lot. She likes to swim, so she's very, very active, and we like to get her, not tired, but Emmy, you know what I mean,
Yes, get that energy out.
Get that energy out, expressing into sports. And he likes to see CrossFit. She likes to see CrossFit. She's a big fan of. Beautifully enough, she's a very big fan of strong girls who lift weights.
Yeah.
She's wow. I mean, my family and we are very good friends of course, of Rich and family, but of Tia and of Catherine. And Catherine came home from Iceland when Greta was born to meet her. And so, we have a lot of press. And Tia she lived in my house actually for 3 weeks some years ago. And she loves to see them on television when they're competing. She's like, psh, psh, psh. Don't talk. And she's very mesmerized by female athletes. She doesn't like so much the boy athletes. She likes the strong girls.
Yeah.
I'm happy about that.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I'm very happy about that. Yeah.
So we talked to Paige a couple weeks ago, and she was saying that Mayhem has built like an add-on to the gym just for the Mayhem athletes to train at when they come to Cookville, like during this time before the games. it is amazing what Mayhem has built over the last 10 years. So I was there for the Mayhem Classic. I know that where it's at is where the athletes were back then, but it was just a tent.
Exactly, yeah.
For them. Now it's a full-on air-conditioned facility.
Yeah, so on the back side of Mayhem, there was an open space. It was at the very beginning a parking lot. Then we put a flooring for the classic and tent, so where people, and it was super cold. I don't know if you remember, Scott, it was very, very fresh those days. So we put a tent so people athletes to warm up. And this year we had to enlarge, and we built a proper facility for athletes competing. Also because although Mayhem is a very big, Kat, I'm going to. I have my question. I have it.
She knows that. She means go back to Mayhem. That's what she's talking about.
Oh yeah, okay. We need to go. Yeah, you are all invited. So we needed to create more space for athletes. Even though Mayhem is a very big, gym, athletes takes a lot of space, especially professional athletes. They, a sled already, a yoke carry. You need your space, and so we were very happy to be able to do that. And now all of the athletes that are there preparing for the games, they have their own space. They are very comfortable. They have all the material. So Rogue is always extremely generous with us. So every time that we have something, they pamper us with everything, and it's getting bigger. It's getting bigger.
Yeah, that's incredible. So let's go back to Kat's questions. We've given you about 4 minutes.
Okay, so I have a friend of mine who is a very good friend of mine who I would love to coach, but he doesn't want me to coach. And his name is Paul Tremblay. He's a Canadian athlete.
Yes.
He's one of my best friends. I adore Paul.
So does Kat.
So does Kat. Okay, Kat, it's a good question. It's a good answer for you then. So Paul is a very good friend of mine, and he's so talented. And he says, no. If you don't stress me. I do my 5 a.m. class, and and I also think that there's a girl in Europe called Gabriela Migala, who I think she's extraordinary. I think that she's amazing, and I just don't realize. And I don't know. I would like to work also with Sam Dancer. It's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
He's an extraordinary fun guy to be around with. So, Kat, you have three.
Yeah, there you go.
3 possible answers.
Yeah.
Do you hear the
storm? Yes, I did just hear that.
Yeah. So, but to be honest, at the moment, I'm very happy where I am. We have a roster of beautiful people to work with at Mayhem, and all our our motivation and concentration and hard work is set there towards them.
Yeah.
So it's funny. Kat is actually one of our co-hosts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Her son is just playing baseball today, but Paul is her favorite, and so we actually had him on for her birthday.
Okay.
Just this past
I didn't know
year.
that. I promise I didn't know that.
Right. I know. That's why it was perfect.
Yeah. I used to work on a Hinshaw. I worked with Chris Hinshaw for many years, and we had a station at Power Monkey called the Endurance Station, and we always needed an assistant coach. And I think that I kind of harassed Hinshaw into hire Paul to be the co-coach with me of that station. And if you know Paul, he doesn't like to run. He's like the least of all the strong athletes, the least enduring athlete of them all. And he's like, I'm a sprinter, And we managed to convince him. So he came to Power Monkey, and he was the coach of the endurance station. And he kind of, even himself, he joked on everything he did not have to do if you want to improve your endurance.
Nice.
Yeah.
So Kat's also asking, will you be involved with the Legends competition, the Masters competition at Mayhem?
I don't think so. Let me just put my cable on my computer, because I think that it's branched, and I'm scared that it's going to it's just here. 1 second.
Kat also doesn't like to run, so that seems that's a nice little match made right there.
Done. Sorry.
That's okay.
No, I'm doing another competition that we're doing with Mayhem in Argentina, the Argentina Throwdown. which is going to be pretty much the same date. I'm very much involved in Mayhem Latin America. One of the things that I'm very thankful, very thankful, is last year I was sitting with Rich and we were talking about plans, and I said, I feel that not everybody have access to the same, level of coaching, material, and so on. And that is very often for athletes living in the Southern Hemisphere, a limitation. They just feel that they don't have the same access. Therefore, they feel somehow that they are neglected. So I told Rich, I would love to go to South America and start, building a community and create kind of a bridge between Mayhem and South America. So athletes were going to be given high-level programming. And I've always thought that if we can manage to do that, the excuses are going to be minimized, to say like, I have everything that I need to have because it's been given to me. If I want to go to the games or be the next champion, now it's really fully dependent on me, not just the circumstances of the environment, right? And that is how, we were lucky enough to have a Guy, to have that now he moved to Cookville now. Last September, Agustin Richelme, Argentinian athlete that actually finally today he got his official invite to go to the CrossFit Games. After weeks of waiting, he was third in Copa Sur, and the second person tested positive.
Yeah.
And so I'm very happy that he's there, and many other athletes that we have the chance to work with. And we are building a beautiful community in South America. And I'm extremely happy about it. And now we are moving a little bit into Africa. We have Michelle Mirand, one of our athletes, is the fittest woman in the continent. She's at Mayhem now, preparing for the games. She's from South Africa, and we want to keep expanding and giving opportunities to people. We have a program in Spanish, which is I'm not selling the program here because this is English podcast, but we have a program in Spanish, just in Spanish, and it's the full translation of Mayhem Compete and M30 and bodybuilding. Everything's done in Spanish, and the price is also adapted to the reality of those countries. It's 60% off the price of the Mayhem Athlete in North America, so it's $20 only. And it's our way of, or at least Mayhem's way to try to involve and give more chances to people in areas where the things are a bit scarce.
That's one of the things that's so awesome about the Mayhem programming is there's so many different sections, the bodybuilding, the affiliate, the 60-minute, How much do you specialize?
A lot.
You don't specialize in any part of that?
No. So what we do is that we have main ideas and directions we want to put into the program, right?
Yeah.
And then we created full skeletons of things adaptations that we want to move our athletes towards, right? And then we create ways of scaling according to their time or the material or whatever. Mm-hmm. So that's the M30, M60 masters teens compete, and what Rich doing. But we also have aerobic capacity that's done by Hinshaw. Bergener strength done by Sage and Coach Bergener. Bodybuilding with another coach. We have an interesting option of programs. Yeah, we're very happy about that.
Yeah, we use Mayhem affiliate at our gym right now.
Amy, of course. I knew that we have something in common, you and me.
So I want to go back to the South America thing.
Yeah.
It's not a secret that there was a very big drug problem down there in Copa Sur.
Yeah.
You said that there's a lot of excuses. Do you think that is what led to a lot of that, or do you think it's just a cultural thing?
That is a very good question. I'm not able to answer you, Scott. I'm going to give you just a little bit of ideas that I have. I think that the culture of PEDs there is different than in North America. I think that, unluckily, not negative. Well, certainly, of course, it's negative. This is something that people should not be doing, but access to them is much easier than in other places. And it was very hard for us, for people, not just for Mayhem, but for many other coaches and athletes that are investing in South America. and trying to bring forward and underline the potential that there exists there, that this happen. However, I don't want to say, well, because the WAFT speak prominent Copa Sur, South America is a continent in which this is common. But it is an ongoing problem. Maybe a lack of education, or a lack of understanding, or a lack of it is a very serious problem. I really don't know what to answer. I'm very lucky that that is not something that has been expanded in the environment of athletes that I work. But I hope that we find a solution, to educate more people, athletes, into understanding the negative side, the illegal side, and the ethically incorrect side of using this kind of shortcuts.
So when you're building a program there, and I think that this is going to be universal, not just in South America, for training camps and things like that, are you hoping to put things in place to educate people about that as you move forward, or is it just, do you need to build it first and then figure it out?
I mean, I'm not sure if I have the instruments enough to educate people myself. I think that we give instruments that people can take and they can use them as educational for themselves. It's like a coach. I think that we coaches, we guide, and we give the instruments to athletes. If they are clever enough to take them and they're valid for them, that will work really well. Some athletes, maybe don't have the cognitive capacity to understand what is being given to them. The goal in South America is, first of all, to create this bridge in which we are working hard to give possibilities for athletes that don't have access, like Europeans or Americans, to coaching or to training camps and so on. That is the main goal. But yes, we started to expand slightly. We have 2 adaptive athletes that are there. One of them is going to the games now. We have also started working with masters and with teens. So it's going really well, and it's coming from South America. I'm extremely happy to be able to cooperate with a little bit of grain of sand of what I'm working with. So
we just passed the hour. I want to finish up because I want to respect your time. I want to finish with one question.
I'm fine. Yes. Oof.
How much has coaching made you a better father?
A lot, because I used to be very individualistic in the way that I relate to the world. I studied a lot, but I studied for me, and I was responsible for my own acts and results. And I found out with coaching how, even having studied psychology, how different we are, and how to try to get the skill of having different ways to pass a message. Not everybody is receptive the same way. So a coach, besides the knowledge, is okay, I need to talk to this person like this. It works better with his or her character, and vice versa. So I think that being a coach, by far, of all the things that I've done in my life, it's been the most rewarding, the most stressful by far, but also the most rewarding. And I'm extremely thankful for how people have helped me and given opportunities to do what I'm doing now.
And you actually work with a team as a coach, and you get to work with your husband as a father.
Yeah. Different. Different. No, I mean, yet again, I work with teams, but it's a bit of a different approach. It's very funny because we talk to our daughter in different languages too. Yeah. I try to speak to I speak mostly to her. I speak mostly in French or in Spanish, but mostly French. He speaks to her just in German, and when we are together, we speak in German. But already, because of the language, our approach is very, very different. Even to the sound, German language and French languages are very opposed in the way we express ourselves, in the way we we use phrases to express whether it's an order, an advice, a sentiment, or whatever. German people are very much more direct. It's a beautiful language.
Yeah.
French people are much more cold, more mellow, and so I think that we have different instruments in how to do our job as a father.
Yeah. How to relay those
Eddie Murphy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Eddie Murphy used to have a bit about the difference between the French and the German language back in the early 80s. That is hilarious. And that's all I can think about.
I need to find that out. No, I think, I'm very surprised that Greta is able to speak 3 languages quite well. Better than me, actually. When I speak German, she corrects me. She's 5. Yeah. And when I'm in good mood, I said, oh, thank you. That's nice. When I'm in good, when you're like doing 10 things at the same time, and I'm trying to talk to her in German, I said, you should not say it like this. You should say it like that. And I'm like, shut up, let me talk. I'm doing my best.
Thanks for the feedback.
Yeah, exactly. But she's very like teacher, like, maybe takes that from German, but yeah.
That's awesome.
Facundo, this has been a blast this hour. I'm so glad you joined us. We'll be in Madison, so hopefully we'll see you there.
I want to see you with that t-shirt, though.
You got to wear that t-shirt, Scott.
Yeah, Scott.
I actually have a bunch of Mayhem shirts, so I'll wear them.
Amy, do you have your Mayhem shirt?
I do.
Okay. Otherwise, talk to me, Amy, and we'll arrange.
Okay.
All right, Facundo, we'll see you there.
Thank you so very much for your time, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a nice day.